Hey everyone, Coach Kirsten here. And this morning I had an athlete ask me, what does my lead up to my race, the day before my race, 2 days before my race, what do I do for my workouts? What does that look like leading into a race? So I was talking to him about how if I have access to a pool, which I typically try to do, like in advance, I'll search the area, see if there's a pool I could drop into. Then I swim every day leading up to my race. And he was like, oh, I never thought about that. And I said, yeah, so here's what I do. And I told him my exact swim routine I do every day leading up to the race. And he was like, oh, I never thought of that. I never thought of doing specific things in the pool for mobility, for stretching, for muscle balance, for just peace of mind. It's quiet. You're away from all the hoopla of the race, stuff like that. So the fact that he said he never even thought about that, and he's like, oh, I'm actually going to swim this afternoon. I'm going to try some of those things. It made me think, well, maybe not everybody knows these amazing secrets that you can incorporate in your swim workout, during your swim workout, before, after your swim workout. You're already in the pool. You're already wet. You already got into your swimsuit, drove to the pool. You have to take a shower anyway. If you have extra time during your swim workout, either throughout, so I usually do it throughout my swim workout or before or after, there's some things that you can do to help your body recover, feel better, help with mobility, stretches. If you're someone who stretches anyway, then you can just incorporate this into your swim workout, and it saves you time after. So it really doesn't take up much more time. And then a lot of muscle balance, because we as triathletes, we do a lot with our legs forward and back, right? So flutter kick, we're working the hip flexors, our legs are going up and down. Biking, forward, we're forward and back. Running, forward and back. So everything is doing this. So our quads, our hamstrings, our glutes, our calves tend to be overworked, whereas our inner and outer thighs, our adductors and abductors are typically underworked. So if you know someone who's a triathlete who's in physical therapy for some lower body issue, you see them doing a lot of like that side step with a band or side squats with a band to strengthen those inner and outer thighs. So here are some things that I do in the pool that help with muscle balance, mobility, and stretching my muscles from head to toe. And I incorporate them into my swim, but you can do it on purpose, like right after your swim or whatever. So here are a few things I do. Number one, I use my fins every single time I warm up. Part of it is because I am lazy. I don't really even though I love swimming, it's like hard to get into the pool. So using my fins makes it easier, and I'm warming up. I'm getting used to the water. My body's getting used to moving in that direction. Typically, my neck and my shoulder is really tight and sore. I'm fatigued. I don't want to jump right in and start doing something hard. If I knew I had to get into a pool and do something hard in the first 5 minutes, I wouldn't get in the pool. But knowing I can put on my fins and just kind of like ease into it. So what fins do for me is my ankles are tight, because running and biking, you don't do a ton of pointing your toes. Your feet are flexed a lot. So when you put on the fins, it's an extension of your foot. And so it actually makes your ankles have to work harder. And so it strengthens your ankles and it stretches them out because you're pointing your toes. And that fin is adding resistance, so it's making it makes it more it makes your ankles have to stretch more, so it makes them more flexible as well. What this also does, here's your ankle, is when you're kicking, you're stretching your shins when your toe is down, and you're stretching your calves when your toe is up. So you're constantly moving and getting blood flow into your ankles, calves, and shins, which typically when you're running and biking, they're staying a little more in a steady place, so they're not getting that blood flow through the ankle and up through the calves and the shins. So when I kick with fins, it feels really good on my calves and my shins and my ankles because it's stretching them out. It's giving them more mobility so the blood is flowing from toe to up through the leg a little bit easier. So I do my entire warm up with fins, and if my warm up is a 600, I do kicks and swims and dolphin kick and flutter kick and all different things with the fins. Backstroke. If my warm up's 1,000, I do it all with the fins. So then after my warm up, I take off my fins, and then I'll typically do a set of breaststroke kick. And so breaststroke kick, if you don't know what that kick is, some people call it the frog kick or the whip kick, but basically your legs, you're bending your knees, and then you're doing a kind of a circle, and you're pushing the water behind you. So these are your feet. They're pointing out, and they're sweeping around. So if you want to learn breaststroke kick, go to YouTube, grab a video, or take a lesson from an instructor who can teach you how to do breaststroke kick. But here's the thing that I like about breaststroke kick. Number one, you're opening your hips more than you do with flutter kick, because flutter kick, you keep it tight. Breaststroke kick, you're opening the hips a little bit more. So you're opening up those hips, which don't get open in our biking and our running and our swimming when we're swimming freestyle. So you're opening up the hips. You're also, as you squeeze your legs together, you're using your inner and outer thighs. So, and like if you have a more efficient breaststroke kick and it's a smaller little whip because you're trying to go fast, you're actually not going to get as much benefit with the opening. So I do the, a swim coach once told me my breaststroke kick is like old school, like how they used to do it in the 60s, which was like a giant whip around, because I'm not interested in going fast on my breaststroke kick. I'm interested in opening up my hips and getting that pulled together where I'm working my inner thighs. So I do at least a 200 breaststroke kick after my warm up, and I do breaststroke kick throughout my workout. So throughout my workout, like after a hard set, I'll grab the kickboard and do 100 breaststroke kick. Or I'll do my cool down, 200 breaststroke, so that I'm doing that. So I do a minimum 500 of breaststroke kick in any of my workout, even if it's a shorter workout, because I do it in my warm up, in my cool down, and typically throughout the workout if I'm doing like 100 easy between 2 hard sets. So breaststroke kick is the second thing. The third thing, and a lot of you guys might not know what sidestroke is if you're just a freestyler, if you're just triathlete, but sidestroke has a scissor kick that you do on your side. So again, Google it, go to YouTube, hire an instructor for a lesson to teach you sidestroke. But sidestroke does a couple things for me. Number one, my arm, so when you're in sidestroke, you're like this, like kind of when you kick on your side, but it's easier. So I need to stretch this. Like this is super tight on me. So being on my side, and I usually do, sometimes I do side stroke, which the stroke is kind of a reach and grab like this. I oftentimes will do side stroke kick, just holding my arm on a kickboard, and that keeps my arm up, and it gives me an extra stretch all down the side of my body, all through my lat, all through my obliques. So I really need that. So I'll do it a lot of times where I'm holding a kickboard, or if I want more mobility, I'll actually do a side stroke pull. But what the side stroke kick does is it opens your hip flexors, which again, when we bike and run and do flutter kick, we're doing a lot of work with our hip flexors. So our hip flexors are strong. Like we as triathletes, we have strong hip flexors. We do not have flexible or mobile hip flexors. So this is a way, the scissor kick on your side. So when you're on your left side, your right leg is forward and it comes back into a scissor kick, and your left hip flexor is going to be stretched like crazy. Also, since you're on your side, you're going to be stretching down the hip as a whole, but when you do that scissor kick, that left hip flexor is going to get a huge stretch. And then as you come forward, it's going to stretch your glutes and your hamstrings. And then when you come back, do it on the other side. So one side, if you're a side stroker, one side is really easy, right? And one side you're like, this is so awkward, but do both, because when you're on your right side, it's going to give this great big stretch all down the right side of your body. And then your left leg is going to come forward, and it's going to give that right hip flexor that super stretch and mobility that it needs. So with fins, flutter kick, with fins in warm up, stretch everything out, ankles, shins, calves, breaststroke kick to open the hips, do some inner and outer thigh work, and side stroke or side stroke kick. Again, you could do it in the warm up, you could do it in the cool down, you could do it throughout. It's gonna open the hip flexors, open the whole side of your body. It's also, if you're less flexible in here, like a lot of men that I coach are just super muscular, their traps are giant, their rear delts, everything is kind of built up in here. So when I have them kick on their side, it looks like this, right? Because they don't have this flexibility. So holding a kickboard and doing this is the kickboard's gonna float up to the top of the water. So you're gonna start getting some more flexibility and mobility in your neck. So those are my 3 things that I do. Every single swim, I do those 3 things, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what I need. Right now I'm tapering, so I'm gonna be doing a lot more of that. Like my hard sets, my swims are shorter, so I'm gonna be throwing in 15 minutes at the beginning, 15 minutes at the end for 30 full minutes of muscle balance, mobility in all my joints, and helping with flexibility. So I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions about this at all, comment here, reach out to me. I am always available to answer questions. I want to help you guys be the best, very best athlete that you can be. And this is one way that I believe will get you there. So, I did want to mention, for me, it's also very calming to be in the water. So pre-race, I'm not out there doing the open water swim where everybody's kind of going crazy, and I try to stay away from the hubbub of everything that's going on. And that's why I like to find a pool at a gym where I could just relax, do my routine, go within myself, think about my race, think about what I need before a race, instead of getting all like hyped up and getting all the energy of what everybody else is going through pre-race. So that is my other reason that I do this pool stuff pre-race. So if that's helpful, I wanted to throw that out there. So I hope you guys are enjoying your training, and hopefully we'll chit chat soon. All right, bye.